The room was pitch black. The only sound was the soft hum of the air conditioner. It was 3:14 a.m. I know the exact time because it's burned into my memory. I was lying awake, just exhausted from another 70-hour work week. My body ached, but my mind just wouldn't shut down. And then I saw it. A soft, blue pulse of light from the nightstand. Her phone lying face down. It lit up again, a silent little beacon in the dark. Now, I wasn't a snooper. I believed in trust, in privacy. But you learn that some betrayals don't bother knocking. They just find a crack and slip right in. The screen went dark, but that little preview of the message was all I needed to see. It was like it was burned onto the back of my eyelids. Some betrayals don't deserve a big confrontation. They don't deserve your voice or the satisfaction of your tears. Sometimes, the loudest thing you can do is say nothing at all. The most powerful response is to just disappear. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll want to hear the rest of this. That message wasn't just a confession. It was an assassination of my character. It was from some guy named Mark. And the part that made my heart stop wasn't the flirting. It was the cruelty. Don't worry about him, the preview read. My boring accountant husband is fast asleep. He'll never know. A second message flashed before the screen went dark. He's just so predictable. Boring. Predictable. The words didn't make me angry. They made me cold. The kind of cold that starts in your bones and freezes you from the inside out. I looked over at my wife, Sarah, sleeping peacefully beside me. She had this faint, knowing smile on her lips, even in her sleep. In that 1 second, the love I had for her, the foundation of my entire world for 8 years, it didn't just die. It evaporated. It became something transactional. There wasn't going to be a screaming match. No tearful accusations. No throwing his clothes on the front lawn. That was her world, full of drama and emotion. And I decided, right then and there, I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. I would just stop existing for her. The man she called boring and predictable was about to do the most unpredictable thing of his life. He was going to vanish. The next morning, it was business as usual. I woke up, made coffee, and kissed her goodbye as she left for her late meeting with a client. I just nodded, putting on the perfect mask of the supportive husband. The second her car was out of sight, I turned into a machine. This was now the most important project of my life, Operation Erasure. First, the money. I spent years as an accountant, and I used every skill I had to perform the cleanest financial surgery you could imagine. I opened a new bank account online, in my name only. Then I logged into our joint accounts. My hands were steady. My heart felt like a block of ice. I calculated our total liquid assets, down to the last penny. I transferred exactly 50%, not a cent more, not a cent less, into my new account. This wasn't theft. It was severance. Next, I handled the legal side. I found a top-rated divorce attorney a few states away, paid for a video consultation, and had the papers drawn up. Irreconcilable differences. No fault. I signed them digitally. My signature was a final, sterile goodbye. Finally, the escape plan. I had a standing job offer from a firm in Denver that I'd been ignoring out of loyalty to Sarah. I called a recruiter and told him I was ready. I accepted the job, got a temporary corporate apartment, and booked a one-way flight for the end of the week. For 5 days, I played the part of the perfect husband. I listened to her stories, pretended to care about her day, and slept next to a complete stranger, all while my new life was being built in secret, 1,000 miles away. If you think walking away in silence is more powerful than a huge fight, go ahead and hit that like button, and let me know in the comments. Would you confront them, or would you vanish? That Friday morning, our last morning, the routine didn't change. A kiss on the cheek. A casual, have a good day. She had no idea she would never see me again. I didn't go to work. I drove to a notary to get the divorce papers finalized. When I got back to the house, it was silent. It felt like a museum of a life that wasn't mine anymore. I walked to the kitchen island, the one she was so proud of, and placed 3 things on the counter, side by side. The signed divorce papers, the key to the front door, and my wedding ring. It slid right off my finger, way too easily. I took one last look around, not with sadness, just detachment. I walked out and didn't even bother to close the door all the way. At the airport, right before I boarded my flight, I took out my phone, popped the SIM card out, and snapped it in two. The pieces fell into the trash can. With that final, satisfying crack, Alex Porter, the boring, predictable husband, was gone for good. I heard bits and pieces of what happened next through a mutual friend, my one emergency-only contact. Sarah's confusion turned to panic, and then to pure rage. She called, texted, and emailed, sending a frantic storm of messages into a black hole. When she finally found papers on the counter, her story changed. She told everyone I'd had a breakdown. She told her lover, Mark, that I was unstable. But it turns out Mark was only interested in a side piece, not a life of distraught, unemployed divorcee. He was gone within a month. She couldn't afford the house on her own, and it was sold at a loss. Meanwhile, in Denver, I wasn't just getting by. I was starting over, free from the weight of that dead marriage. I poured all my energy into myself. Those 70-hour work weeks were for my benefit now. I got promoted within a year. I started hiking, got in shape, and shed the soft, comfortable version of the man I used to be. I even hired a style consultant and got rid of my predictable wardrobe. I wasn't just an accountant anymore. I was a senior financial consultant, sharp, successful, and confident. I didn't just vanish. I reinvented myself. 5 years passed. 5 years of total silence. I was back in my old city for a conference. I walked into a luxury department store to buy a client a gift when I saw a flash of movement at a perfume counter. It was her, Sarah, but it was a version of her that life had clearly worn down. Her hair was thin, and she was wearing a cheap, ill-fitting store uniform instead of her usual expensive clothes. The confident woman I knew was gone, replaced by someone with the tired, forced smile of a retail worker. She didn't recognize me at all. And why would she? I was 20 pounds lighter, wearing a tailored suit, with a totally different haircut and an air of confidence she'd never seen in me. I walked right past her counter. She held out one of those little paper samples and said in a robotic voice, "Would you like to try our new fragrance, sir?" I turned, and for a split second, I saw a flicker of recognition in her eyes. It was followed by shock, then disbelief, and then pure horror. "Alex," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Oh my God, Alex, is that you?" She just abandoned her post and rushed toward me. The apologies came pouring out, a frantic, desperate mess of words. She was sorry. She made a terrible mistake. She never stopped loving me. She begged me for a chance to talk, just to explain. I let her finish. I didn't show any anger or pain or even pity. I just looked at this ghost from another life with complete and total indifference. When she finally ran out of words, her eyes pleading for something, I gave her my final response. I offered a slight, polite smile and said the coldest words she would ever hear. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice perfectly calm. "Have we met?" Then I turned my back on her, walked over to the register, bought my item, and left the store without a single glance back. The best revenge isn't a loud, fiery explosion. It's the cold, quiet emptiness of indifference. This was never about hurting her. It was about showing her she no longer had any power over me. I had erased her from my life so completely that she was just a stranger. My victory wasn't seeing her fall. It was in my own rise. I became a man she couldn't even recognize, and in doing that, I finally became myself. What do you think of his revenge? Was it justified, or did he go too far? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you want more stories about silent victory and ultimate karma, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. You'll want to watch this next story. You won't believe what happens when the tables are turned.